Hi, Rachel. Hi, everybody. Welcome to Thursday, and I think the sun is popping out finally. Rachel, you look
Mm,
like you're in a different place. Tell us where you are.
yes, I'm in the study room of the Sisters Library.
Oh.
So my husband and I are away camping this weekend at Settle Lake, and it's just so
Mm.
great. You can get on the online at the website of the sister of a library and reserve a study room or a
Mm.
boardroom or a community room. No
Yeah.
charge, of course. It's private, it's quiet. I've got a TV in here. I've got a dry erase board in case I need to take notes. But yeah, it's a great little. I didn't know for sure if you have to be a member of the like local.
Hmm.
And she's like, no, anybody can come on in here and reserve a room. So
Well, cool. Well, thanks for
because there's no
doing
service
that.
at Subtle Lake.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Well,
so it's
cool.
kind of cool.
It's awesome. Yeah, I was just at my local library a couple of days ago checking out a new book. So,
What'd you get?
oh gosh, I'm totally in the middle of this one novel that I can't even remember the next one that I is on my list, but anything, Beautiful Life or something like that. I can't remember exactly the name of it.
Mm,
But anyway, so but it's fun. It's fun to go to the library. I had this huge
mhm.
plan, this beautiful plan to ride my bike to the library, but yeah, I got waylaid because it closes at a certain time, and it'll probably take 20 minutes for me to ride my bike to the library. And anyway,
Mm.
my day went a little longer than expected, and yeah, so I drove but
Now,
next time.
do you guys have a local library in Jefferson, or do you have to go to Millersburg, or where do you go?
Yeah, it's in
In
Jefferson.
Jefferson.
Yeah, it's in Jefferson.
Oh,
Yeah.
very cool.
Okay, maybe it wouldn't have
Yeah,
taken me 20 minutes, but anyways,
more time than you had.
more time than I had. So, yeah, so we have been talking through Blue Zones, this
Mhm.
book, um, and by Dan Buettner, and he has gone all over the world and looked at different people groups and has kind of looked at their habits. Well, just specific people groups where they have a large portion of their population that thrive, that live strong into their 90s and 100. And
Mhm.
so he was looking at the common denominators between these groups, and we've been talking through several of them,
Mhm.
movement and nutrition, and now we're on to what's this?
Connect.
Connect? Thank you. Yeah, now we're on to
Yeah.
Connect. Yeah. And yeah, Rachel, tell us the first part. I think there's three different sections within this.
Yeah,
Yeah.
there's three sections in the Connect category. And the first
Mhm.
one we're going to talk about today is called Belong. And
Mm.
I'll just read the little section. We have the link to the website for the Blue Zones in the show notes. But under the category of Belong, they say all but five of the 263 centenarians that we interviewed belonged to some faith based community.
Mhm.
Denomination doesn't seem to matter. Research shows that attending faith based services 4 times per month will add 4 to 14 years of life expectancy.
Mhm. Very interesting. Yeah, four
Yeah.
times. So, yeah, so I believe the Sardinians are Catholic, and well, we know that the Loma Linda people, they're Seventh Day Adventists. Yeah, so
Yep. Yep.
very interesting that well, you said 4 times a month would be, which is like once a week,
Uh huh.
go to
Yep.
a worship service, I think is kind of
hmm
basically what he's saying. Yeah. And
Yeah.
something about that does
Adds
something
life.
for, yeah, your whole body.
Yeah. Yeah. I heard this isn't quite the same, but it's along the lines. I heard some statistics the other day about the Sabbath. I'm doing research and study on adhering to the Sabbath or a Sabbath, this
Mhm.
concept of a day where there's no work, and it's really a day set aside. There's faith-based reasons for it, of course, that involve worship and faith practices. It can also be just a day that a person observes of a full rest, of a full
Right.
recovery day. And the
Mhm.
science behind why this is actually a really good idea and why
Yeah.
our bodies are kind of designed for it.
Right.
And we thrive when we have this day, a full day set aside. And
Mhm.
they did the math, and it's like, if you didn't work and didn't do anything other than enjoy the day, every seventh day of a week, it would be 14. People complain and say, well, I don't have the time for that. I've got to do so much more, and all this stuff. And it's about 14 years. And they said, but people who observe the Sabbath tend to live 14 more
Mhm.
years.
Oh, wow.
So it's
Yeah.
almost
So
like
yeah.
an equal
Right.
trade. So I thought that was kind of interesting.
Mhm.
Um, the
Yeah.
longevity piece to it.
Mhm. Right, and of course, the Sabbath is, both from the Jewish and Christian tradition, where the world was created in 6 days, and then on the seventh day, the Creator rested. And
Right.
and setting the example of work and rest,
Yes.
the rhythm of
Yes.
work and rest, work.
Exactly.
And yes, we don't get to not
Hmm.
work, we have to, but work
Right.
and
Hmm.
then rest. And I think,
Hmm.
and a lot of us think that, okay, we're going to do something different, a different kind of work. Maybe we're not going to our job making money kind of work,
Hmm.
but we're doing different work, around the house, this project, that project. And it's, and this is kind of his, the author is kind of talking about, no, it's really about rest. Yeah. Or
Hmm.
worship or recognition that there's something beyond you. Yeah.
Right.
Uh-huh.
Yeah. Yeah. And this sense of belonging to a faith
Hmm.
based community where
Hmm.
others are doing the same thing, where
Hmm.
you have this sense of shared values, shared
Hmm.
beliefs, shared intentions and mission. Maybe you're living on purpose in some sort of way.
Right.
Um, and this whole connection category, we're going to be talking about belonging and about the people that your group and your tribe and your community and stuff. And this is just the first part of that category is really
Hmm.
that faith tradition. And so there's a lot of value to that.
Hmm.
um, and it's interesting, I think, that as I get older, I don't know about you and those of you listening, if you experience this, but as I get older, I start to realize that the old things that the older generations were talking about, or the things I learned in my faith traditions, are these patterns that really are for us.
Right.
They're right. They were designed
Hmm.
and written and talked about and encouraged as a way for thriving,
Hmm.
for a life well lived,
Hmm.
not as a restriction,
Right.
not as
A
a,
to-do
a
list.
yes,
Yeah.
yes. And that there's, I'm looking back and going, oh,
Hmm.
the older generation, they had some wisdom here. And we're so
Hmm.
quick in the younger generations to try to be progressive and, shake off the old ways. And we have
Hmm.
it, we know better. But
Hmm.
man, when you think about some of the old family style and living based traditions, there's a lot of
Hmm.
wisdom to
Hmm.
be had.
Yeah, for sure. For sure. Yeah, because
Hmm.
it lets your whole body kind of do, just shift into from the sympathetic to the parasympathetic. And there must
Hmm.
be some science about how,
Yeah.
8 hours, 12 hours of
Hmm.
just, resting is
Hmm.
how it must reset
Hmm.
our body. Yeah. Because
Yeah. I think it takes a while for us to kind of come down off of things, right? There was a research I was reading about people who stop. They like, can they just be and not do something,
oh
right?
yeah.
And
Yeah.
that and that for the first several hours there's this nervousness and restlessness, and the body feels icky and shaky and very uncomfortable. There's like a strange, like an inability to like settle down. And
Mhm.
once they got past this certain time frame, they were able to kind of, did I tell you about this last week?
I don't
Looking at the
remember.
paintings.
Yeah. Oh,
It was
staring at the painting. Yeah, yeah, yeah.
staring at
Yeah.
the paintings for
That's
3 hours,
yeah.
right? And it's that ability to come down, and we think we can do it with a quick 20-minute this or that, or I'm going to take a break outside, and those are good. We need those little breaks throughout the week, the daily little
Mhm.
stress relief breaks.
Mhm.
But what if you did sort of like nothing? And I don't mean binge watch TV. That's not doing nothing.
Right, right, right.
Right, it is not the same, because your brain is being hyper stimulated in a way that keeps
Mhm.
the stress cycle going.
Yeah.
But what if you disengage? And how long would it take for you to just be
Yeah.
and be present and then feel relaxed? And when we think about the stress cycle, when there's been a pretty significant trigger or a significant stressor in your week, you might feel like you've kind of come off the main strike of it, and kind of come back a little bit to baseline. But for some people, it can take 24, 48, 72 hours before we return fully to normal. So I think a Sabbath, and connecting with our faith-based community can be a way of building in those hours to make sure that we are really recovering
Mhm.
before we jump into the next week.
Right. Yeah. That's right. Yeah, it's a purposeful, a planned. You just don't
Hmm.
happen on it. You have to
Right.
put it in your week and plan it. Yeah.
Hmm.
Yeah, and and I think there's a couple of things. There's one thing is to recover from the week. And the other thing is to gear up, for the week, so you're on top of things. You're not behind the eight ball, you know,
Right.
you're on your mindset is, charged up, ready to go kind of a thing. Does that make
Yeah.
sense? Yeah.
Yeah, I kind of think about it like, the same feeling I would get as a kid at the end of summer. You're kind of done with summer. You're so rested, and you're kind of bored. You're ready for the school year to start. And I
Mhm.
think about a Sabbath day, if you observed it on a Sunday, which is
Mhm.
traditional, but people do it on different days of the week
Yeah, sure.
based on their work. It can be observed on any day.
Any day.
Um, on any day. But if you've had a full day of this real rest and recovery, you're ready. Your brain
Mhm.
is clear, you feel rested. Maybe you've got some new ideas generating. You're kind of excited to use your
Mhm.
working body again.
Right. Yeah. Yeah, yeah,
Yeah.
good. That's good. Yeah, because well, even there's a verse I'm thinking of in the scripture that says, correct me if I'm wrong. It's not the this which came Sabbath was made for man, versus man being made for the Sabbath,
Mm,
right? So it
mm,
was purposely
hmm.
for our good and our benefit. Yeah.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Mhm. Yeah, and
Yeah.
so
So
many.
this,
Mhm.
go ahead.
Oh, and I'm just thinking of some families that I know. So, I guess I'm kind of reflecting, how well have I done this? Yeah. Mm.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
how well have I done this? Mhm.
Hmm. And do I want to do it? Can I see
Mhm.
there's a place for it? Growing up, we observed it in a very traditional sense. And back in the day, fewer businesses were open on Sundays. That
Right.
was part of that thing, right?
Mhm, mhm,
So not only do the business owners and the employees get that day off, but then you don't really go out and do stuff because nothing's open.
mhm.
And it's kind of like how it feels on Christmas when the whole world, not the whole world, but there's a you can feel the sense of a lot of the world or our country slowing down and pressing
Mhm.
pause. The whole world kind of comes to a halt on Christmas Day. There's more things open now than there used to be, but
Yeah.
still there's a lot of things not open. And doesn't it feel good to know it's like you're not missing out on anything?
Mhm,
Everyone's doing it.
mhm,
Everyone's doing nothing.
mhm,
No one's shopping or no one's eating out. And as a collective, when you know that it's along the lines of, the value of the faith-based, the belonging just in general to a faith-based community.
mhm,
It's knowing that they're doing the same thing you're doing. And gosh, we are such tribal creatures. We are
mhm.
such the more I research and learn about this, I didn't give it enough value, and I tend to
Mhm.
be more of a hermit and more of an an introvert, and I like to be alone. But I'm not designed to be alone, and not all
Mm.
the time,
Mhm.
right? And there's
Mhm.
something so valuable about the design of our
Mhm.
minds and our bodies that needs that
Mhm.
connectivity and feeling like we matter to this group,
Mhm.
and we're all doing these things together.
Right. So he's talking about pointing out that it's being part of a faith-based community.
Hmm.
So being connected to that, and then
Hmm.
also the idea of a regular rest. Yeah. Hmm.
Yeah,
Hmm.
yeah. And we're talking about longevity, right? We're
Hmm.
talking about the people in the world, these groups, these pockets of people who are living well into their hundreds. And I love the word you used earlier. They're thriving in their
Hmm.
hundreds. They
Hmm.
are not barely scraping by and suffering. They're out gardening, and they're out hanging out with their buddies, and they're getting tea with their girlfriends, and they're watching, they're hanging out with their grandkids or great grandkids.
Hmm.
Um, they're engaging in life.
Right. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, so good. All right. So I'm kind of reflecting and thinking, okay, how I have been, I just to be fair, I have been more intentional recently, even
Mm-hmm.
though, I think I've shared that of course, I have a faith, and I attend a church regularly. I
Mm-hmm.
don't always slow down that whole day.
Mm.
Yeah. So I
Yeah.
have been more intentional about that. Actually,
Yeah.
my son really holds me accountable
Mm-hmm.
to that. And and then the funny part is there is no getting him to do any kind of chore.
Oh, that's his motivation. He's like, let's do Sabbath, shall we? Let's do that. Yeah,
Mom.
that's great.
Yeah.
Mhm. Mhm.
So,
Yeah, I'm with
yeah.
you on that. I'm listening to some podcasts about the Sabbath right now, and it's encouraging me and it's
Hmm.
motivating me and it's giving me ideas of how and what it looks like. Because if you
Right.
haven't practiced it, and if
Yeah.
you're not part of a faith-based community, you might not know where to start, or
Hmm.
what does that look like, and
Right.
where would I go to find this community, and
Yeah.
how would I do this? So
Right.
I do think it takes practice, because
Hmm.
it's not doesn't come real second nature. Our
Hmm.
culture, it's a countercultural thing.
Yes.
It's not real mainstream anymore, and so there are some disciplines and some kind of boundaries you might have to set up.
Hmm.
But I'm getting curious about what it would look like if the whole day, and I like the idea that it starts the night before,
Oh, I see.
uh,
Hmm.
right? Because if I practice this on Sunday, by Sunday evening, I've got to, like you said, get ready for my work week. So I
Hmm.
I can't be Sabbathing at that time. So, but if it
Hmm.
starts Saturday night, I have
Hmm.
a full evening, a full rest, and then
Hmm.
that first part of the half of that day.
Right.
And
Yeah.
yeah, what could that look like,
Hmm.
and what would it mean? What would I not do, and what would I do? And then
Right.
if I knew I had this day to do this, what would the
Mhm.
rest of my week look like,
Right.
knowing I get to do these non things on Sunday?
Mhm.
you know,
Mhm.
what would that look
Mhm.
like? Yeah.
Mhm. Yeah, good points to consider. Yeah. And
Hmm.
I feel like you have that community group that's very
Hmm.
consistent in
Yeah.
your life, that connection. Mhm.
Yes, yes. The services we go to on Sunday mornings are more just general kind of communities, like
Mhm.
the whole community. But our small group is a group. Well, we're going to talk about this next week, actually,
Oh,
because
okay.
it's about the
Yeah.
tribe and
Right.
your people, like
Yeah.
your like
Your
that's
peeps.
your inner
Mhm.
circle, and then what's one of those inner circle people, your
Yeah.
peeps. Yeah.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
we'll talk
Oh,
more about that
okay.
next week.
Good. All
Yeah.
right. Well, that's a little sneak peek into the peeps for
I'll
next week.
sneak peek.
So, all right. Well, tell us what's for dinner.
Yeah, camping. We've got a
Right.
couple options. I don't know what it's going to be tonight.
S'mores and hot
Actually,
dogs and oh no,
no.
tofurkey. Tofurkey.
Yep. Yeah. No, I think we're going to do tonight will probably be we've got some elk steak left over from
Oh.
an elk my husband got a couple years ago. So we're going to
Mhm.
do elk steak, and we brought some fresh broccoli. So it was interesting. We were driving over talking about meals, and we're going to be camping more and more. We have a trailer now, and we thought, okay, normally when we camp like, I don't know, 2 times a year, 3 times a year, and it's the fun camping, and you're going to be eating a lot of junk food, and you kind of get ready for it. But if we're camping more and more, we're like, we can't, we need to, we need to figure out healthy
Mhm.
camping
Camping.
food
Yeah.
now. Like,
Mhm.
for all of the meals, maybe
Mhm.
one or two are more fun, but so we're having to figure out and practice that. But tonight will be some elk steaks and some broccoli. We got some good stuff.
Yeah, I love that. I love that you kind of recognize, oh, okay, now you're going to do a little bit more. And you understand that you can have your treats, but if you're having treats every time you camp because that frequency has increased, that might interfere
Right.
with your health in some way. So,
That's right. Yeah.
yeah. So you're switching it up. You're trying
Hmm.
new things. You're
Yeah.
getting curious. You're asking questions. You're coming together and making a plan, and then you'll see if it works, and you'll tweak it.
Right.
Yeah,
Right.
yeah. So we are. So I am. I'm fasting today from
Mm.
yesterday evening. So from sundown to sundown. So I'll probably break my fast with probably an egg and avocado. That's my go-to easy protein, easy digestible protein, and then a beautiful fat with fiber.
Yeah.
So
There
that's
you
probably
go.
simple, small,
Uh-huh.
yeah,
Easy. Yeah.
easy. Mhm.
And will you break that fast tonight and then start like with a normal meal again tomorrow morning? Is that how,
Tomorrow
how you'll
morning.
probably
Yeah,
do it?
yeah.
So,
Mhm.
so a pretty small
Small.
fasting
Yeah.
break
Uh-huh.
meal. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. We had a great conversation last night in group about fasting and all the different ways. And people are so curious about it and have so many questions. And it's a really an incredible tool, but we do need to understand a bit about it and
Mhm.
what the reason we're doing it, right? What am I asking this fast to do for me? What
Right,
is my
right.
purpose?
Yeah.
And one person asked about if they've had eating disorders, and it was a great
Mhm.
question because those with a past history or current struggles with eating disorders, fasting may not be an appropriate
Sure.
tool or strategy.
Yeah.
So, so
Yes.
yeah,
Yeah, you gotta deal with first things first, and then
right,
yeah.
yeah. So
I
those are
love I
listening and
wanna
they're
end
curious
with
about
this.
fasting. Yeah.
Yeah, so speaking about your group,
Hmm.
and that group, which is we're gonna offer probably again right in the fall.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was so transformative for this person I talked to today who feels
Mm.
finally free, a freedom from food that she's never felt before. So
Mm.
yeah, yeah. So
I'm so grateful to hear that.
mm, yeah. So the way we're approaching things as far as from the mindset of curiosity and
Hmm.
um, learning and becoming our own best experts. We're our N of one. I think that's been really, really helpful for our people. So if you want to get a hold of myself or
Yeah.
Rachel, you can call us, Oregon, or at 971-273-7143. You can go to our website, OregonWeightAndWellness.com. Or Rachel, you have a website. What is that?
Yeah, you can go to my new website is coming, but I do have at least one landing page. So you can go to www.rachelmattheos.com. And
Yeah.
my spelling is there on the screen for my name. And you can find me through there, my email address and things like that.
Yeah. We're doing things a little bit differently and it's sticking. Yeah. So,
We are, and I think that the protocol that we're really helping people
mhm.
design, and again, like you said, based on their intuition, their needs for their life, and then a system that can be doable and sustainable and empowering people. People are feeling empowered to see this lifestyle change as beautiful and thriving and actually
Mhm.
great, not the old diet mentality. When they
Yeah.
see that this is different, it's like, oh, okay, this I can do. This is really great.
Yeah. So
So
good.
I'm
All right.
excited.
Well, thank
Yeah,
you.
so give us a
Enjoy
call if
your
you're curious.
time. Enjoy your time camping,
Thank you.
and we'll look forward to hearing all about it. Oh, wait. Next week, Justice
Yeah.
is July 3rd.
Yes.
Yeah, and I will be probably otherwise engaged with my son and soon to be daughter-in-law are coming for a visit. So
Oh, so
probably
fun. Okay.
so
So
yeah, the
we'll be
10th
back
on the
on the 10th.
on
All
10th.
right.
Okay.
See
All
you
right.
July 10th.
Thank you.
All right. Bye, friends.
Bye-bye.